HITC Sport, and yeah, that was a mental Premier League Saturday, wasn't it? I got 0 predictions right, but is that a surprise? Look at me! So anyway, right, let's recap and see the madness that happened. Right, let's go. Watford versus Liverpool. If you're a Watford fan, watching this, please, I know it's tempting, but please try not to feed your season ticket to the cat, because I know it's hard. Watching that, oh man, plucking every eyelash from your face can't hurt more than that. This was without a doubt one of the worst performances I have ever seen from a Premier League football team. I mean, don't get me wrong, Liverpool were absolutely fantastic. A Bobby Firmino hat-trick, Mo Salah, that incredible solo goal, out of this world. But I'm sorry, Watford, hang your head in shame. Sacking Cisco Munoz might have made sense if you'd then gone for someone stable like Chris Wilder or Sam Allardyce. But Claudio Ranieri, just some gentle old man who always looks confused. This is a sweet elderly man who I wouldn't trust to cook a bowl of scrambled eggs without setting fire to the kitchen. This is a man whose dinners probably consist of eating mashed up banana with a spoon. He probably urinates 7 times a night and probably has a phobia of teenagers after dark. Honestly, when the kids go trick-or-treating on Halloween night, this poor fella's probably going to be locked in his cupboard with a gun. He looks like he belongs on the set of Chicken Run or as an extra in Wallace and Gromit. He does not belong in a Premier League dressing room. I mean, what was his team talk? Because based on that, I'm assuming the man spent the immediate hour before the match reading the match program in his car, or if he was in the dressing room, attempting a crossword puzzle in the corner. For his own sake, I hope so, because whatever he did say, clearly the Watford players did not listen. This was hideous, a shambolic, embarrassing display. Where was the brave, heroic Villa who defeated Aston Villa on the opening day of the season? Here, there was not one iota of belief. And are we forgetting, Liverpool lost 3-0 at the stadium only last year, in Nigel Pearson's first game in charge. Oh, you're damn right, he'd have led an Al Pacino-esque team talk. I mean, if those players had dared not to give their all, Pearson would have probably followed each one home with a bread knife. A bit like Nottingham's answer to Michael Myers. Christ above, there's a thought. Poor old Dan Gosling. It's 3 AM and Pearson is standing in your lawn with an axe, with Craig Shakespeare tucking into 7 Easter eggs in his car. But this, Claudio, please tell me you didn't promise them free pizza again. Those tactics don't work in 2021 when all the players already have Uber Eats on their phone. If Ben Foster wants to tuck into a barbecue chicken pizza, he doesn't need your permission. If I was a Watford fan, I'm paying good money to watch this. It's like going to a London restaurant and paying 40 quid to eat a bowl of your own hair. I mean, Danny Rose spent the game blubbering about like an incompetent plumber. Actually, I would say plumber, but that's an insult to plumbers. If plumbers were that bad at their job, then everyone's house would smell of wet Chinese food. To think just 2 years ago, he was demanding that Jose Mourinho playing for Spurs and asking when he'd get his move to AC Milan. Sorry, judging on that performance, Milan wouldn't even employ you to dole out sushi in the canteen. Oh Christ above, Liverpool were forced to start with Ireland's second choice goalkeeper in net. Good old Queeving Kelleher. He looks like a nice, well-mannered boy who probably regularly visits his grandparents. But he only started playing as a goalkeeper at 15 years of age. He's only been a goalie for 7 years. How did you not exploit that? I'll tell you how. Because the Watford players look more concerned about messing up their haircuts than trying to win the ball or mount any meaningful attack. But that's what happens when your relegation threatened team is captained by Moussa Sissoko. I mean, giving the captain's armband to him when he's only 3 weeks in the door and still without a Watford win to his name, it's just disrespectful to the club. It's like giving a jar of your granny's ashes to someone on the second date. But excellent win for Liverpool, who look a scary proposition. I mean, clearly they're on a revenge mission this season to avenge their humiliations. Liverpool this season are Django Unchained. Poor old Aston Villa. By the time you're finished with them on December 11th, they're going to be eating Christmas dinner through a tube in their throat. Leicester versus Man United. Harry Maguire is the most expensive defender in the history of sport. I'm sorry, this is a weekend where we saw a genuine centre-half legend like Fabio Cannavaro sitting in the Elton John stand at Vicarage Road watching the Watford defenders tumble about as if their bellies were filled with undercooked cement. Tell him that a former Hull defender with a head shaped like a Lego block has cost more than double his transfer fees. Tell him that, I dare you. You'll probably see a grown man cry. This was a shambles, a complete and utter defensive diarrhea from Manchester United. You just travelled to the home of a team who were struggling in 13th, a lesser side had been bullied off the park in Poland, and you allowed them to have 22 shots at goal. De Gea was forced to make 7 goddamn saves. You even conceded a goal to some £20 million flop called Pat. Why? Why is anybody surprised? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a championship level coach. I mean, there's no shame in it. Christ, well, so was Frank Lampard. I mean, officially, playoff failure with Derby County on his CV, and yet that got him the gig at Stamford Bridge. Can we stop? Can we please stop with massive clubs letting men past important job interviews based on nostalgia alone? Even at Juventus last season, Andrea Pirlo. Again, sure, world-class footballer, but clearly at the tactical inside of a ham and cheese panini. Honestly, I don't care how rich he is, how much prestige he has in the game. He is the Italian Gary Monk. I am sick to the teeth of players walking into the biggest jobs based on their reputation as a player. It's a completely different skill. I'm sorry, you could have a world-class dentist who could unscrew a tooth with his eyes closed, but would you really want to performing a kidney transplant? I mean, what's he gonna do? Clog your arteries with goddamn mouthwash? It's a different skill entirely. This is like letting Pierce Brosnan direct the next James Bond movie. And that man probably can't even turn on a goddamn DSLR. He'd probably shoot the damn thing in his phone. Just no. We wonder why so many massive football clubs are drowning in a well right now. Well, look around you. I stand by it. If Mikel Arteta had spent his playing days playing at Stoke, spending his peak years eating pizza in the field with Charlie Adam, he wouldn't have the gig at Arsenal right now, despite his supposed brilliant tactical mind. People just want the popular choice. Why else would Tottenham have spent last spring linked with replacing a serial winner like Jose Mourinho with a guy losing every week in a relegation battle at Fulham? Scott Parker is the modern day Tim Sherwood, and yet, because he was a fan favourite as a player, I mean sure, why not get a relegated lump of chewing gum like him the Tottenham gig? It's a complete embarrassment. How many times did the media try to hurry Arsene Wenger out of his seat to replace him with Thierry Henry before everyone realised he's got the organisational skills of wet spinach? Honestly, separate him from his class as a player. Henry is no more tactically intelligent than a northern lump like Jonathan Woodgate. The media also wanted Patrick Vieira to replace Unai Emery at Emirates. You know, just a few months before he failed a job interview at Bournemouth. Wake up, everyone! The media, they keep trying to play matchmaker, so desperately wanting to pair big clubs with popular former players. It's ridiculous. When Jose Mourinho left Old Trafford, some people thought Man United should have appointed Steve Bruce. Christ, well, look at Chris Wilder. Yeah, he looks like a middle-aged janitor with chronic foot odor, but he's stuck in the wilderness right now for no reason other than the fact he used to play for Rotherham and Halifax. But I promise you, despite looking like someone who probably inhales 7 egg yolks for breakfast, I promise you, he's a far more accomplished tactician than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I thought that was proved when he took a nearly 40-year-old Phil Jagielka to Old Trafford in January and won. So look at him, you'd think he was another British Neanderthal coach like Tony Pulis. But no, okay, I don't care that it looks like he constantly thinks about Indian food. The man plays a 3-5-2 system with overlapping centre halves. Ask Solskjaer to do something like that, and it'd be like asking Joey Essex to explain quantum physics. Can we please stop this trend of sticking popular former players into the trenches of the biggest clubs in world football? Solskjaer is only there because he stuck out a big toe at the Nou Camp over 20 years ago. I mean, like Wilder, 10 years ago, Brendan Rodgers was that unfashionable tactical brain who honestly could have been sneered at for the entire of his career. And nobody footballer, he could have just spent his management stuck in mid-table with Swansea. So fair play to Liverpool for giving him his big break in 2012. If back then there was that former player trend there is now, they'd have instead just ignored logic and given the gig to Sami Hyypiä or Robbie Fowler. Two managers about as tactically talented as a couple of dead hamsters. And once again, Rodgers, an actually gifted tactical student of the game, has once again annihilated one of the silver-spooned managerial amateurs resting on a reputation from the 90s. We live in a world where Brentford have a more clued-in coach than Manchester United. Brentford! What? I mean, this is what Ollie was saying in early 2016.
Manchester United chasing fourth is undignified as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Well, it's nearly Halloween, and after a lot of money spent, after being allowed to get your hands on Ronaldo, and you've got United 5th in the league behind Brighton. You've got the most expensive defender in football history, alongside a 4-time Champions League winner, and they're both staring up at a human pancake like Shane Duffy. I'm gonna say it, as far as former Manchester United players go, I'd be more impressed this season with Wayne Rooney than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And the sad thing is, the way football is going, despite an inevitable relegation to League One stating his CV, Rooney, he probably is going to wind up one day as Manchester United manager, even if, like Ollie, only on an initial interim basis. While tactical masterminds like Thomas Frank and Valerian Ismail, they get continually overlooked. No, stop this nostalgic wheelie bin in its tracks. Man United, what are you waiting for? Bring in Zinedine Zidane. Southampton versus Leeds. Leeds United are stuffed in relegation scrap. During the summer, we were told,
Leeds won't suffer second season syndrome. Marcelo Bielsa won't let that happen.
Won't he? Leeds scored over 60 goals last season. So far, 7. The magic has dried up. They've just travelled to toothless, winless Southampton and allowed them to have 19 shots at goal. Leeds didn't have a single shot on target all match. This isn't Leeds. This isn't swashbuckling, fearless Leeds. But yeah, Armando Broja, a 20-year-old 9th choice striker at Chelsea, he's coming on loan, and now he's keeping a £20 million goal-shy flop like Adam Armstrong stuffed to the bench, and I think he's going to continue to keep him rotting there like a bowl of stale cornflakes, because he's just gone and scored his first Premier League goal. Fair play. Man City versus Burnley. Burnley, congratulations! You've done it! You finally escaped the Etihad without losing 5-0 for the first time in nearly 4 years. I mean, you still haven't scored a Premier League goal at this ground since January 2017, but still, I don't care. You finally avoided a 5-0 result. Sean Dyche probably spent Saturday afternoon dancing around the dressing room with his shirt above his head. I mean, this should be seen as a monumental success. You finally managed to leave this ground with a shred of dignity intact. But still, goals from Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne. Oh, job done. Brentford versus Chelsea. Again, I don't know why, but I said Brentford would win this game. To be fair though, this almost feels like a Brentford win. Brian Mbeumo hit the post twice against the champions of Europe. Ivan Toney utterly dominated that Chelsea defence. And if they hadn't conceded a sloppy goal to Ben Chilwell on the stroke of half time, who knows? They could have gone on and actually won this match. Honestly, great win for Chelsea, but Brentford, I've been so impressed with you. Every criticism I had about you in the championship, calling you bottlers, that Pontus Janssen tattoo, I have to take it all back because honestly, so far, you've been one of my favourite newly promoted teams of all time. I've always said Blackpool. Blackpool's arguably my favourite football team that ever existed. Blackpool 2010, Ian Holloway, I loved that team so much. And Brentford, you're a bit more pragmatic, you're definitely more defensively solid, but you still got that fearless approach trying to win every match. Legends. Aston Villa versus Wolves. Yeah, this might be the worst 10 minutes in Aston Villa's history. How did this happen? After 79 minutes, they were 2-0 up and cruising via a Danny Ings header and a deflected John McGinn strike. Playing as a pretty stale, out of sorts Wolverhampton, and yet you somehow managed to lose the game. How? President of Ashley Young will surely blame himself. The guy replaced Matty Cash on 79 minutes. Probably told just use his experience to see out the match in a professional manner, right? Nah. Roman Sass immediately pulls one back. Connor Cody takes advantage of a defensive scramble to equalise. And then Ruben Neves stuffs in a 95th minute winner. They look broken at the full-time whistle. Anyway, that's it, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Alright, let me know in the comment section below of all the main talking points. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, share, subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.